remember when you were younger and people used to say, particularly your mum and dad, you better tell the truth or else it'll find you out. And you're always really nervous by that, weren't you? Particularly that ultimatum, at the end. I'm giving you one final chance, particularly if you're being naughty. Don't look at, you see, I can see you all, oh, well, I never did that, Neil. Of course you did. We all did, didn't we? If you dropped something or moved something or taken something you shouldn't, that sort of thing. Have you eaten those hundreds and thousands, Neil? No. Still rattling around in your mouth. Do you remember things like that? But on a bigger scale, you see, if you lie on a personally big, sort of screen, particularly internationally around the world, you have a problem. Is it your car?
Yeah,
sorry. When you speak on the world stage and you say those things, particularly to a worldwide audience of millions, like Meghan Markle did on the Oprah Winfrey Show, then you have to be thinking, well, I could be caught out quite literally at any moment. But seemingly everything that she said, like the secret wedding and everything, it's always just rebuked as if, well, no, that didn't happen, or that's the truth. I did now sort of, when you think about it, look back at Oprah Winfrey's style, and you have to admire the fact that she kept using that phrase, your truth. Maybe she did know that this wasn't necessarily the right and correct narrative. But of course, looking at the big bucks that particular interview was going to bring in for her company, Harpo Productions, and more importantly, the syndication rights via CBS. I know how television works, and she's not going to jeopardize it at the 11th hour because they would have vetoed that particular interview. So as I say, I'm not backing up Oprah Winfrey. I'm saying exactly the reasons why possibly she didn't come on board. But what's interesting here in that particular interview, she pointed out that during her sort of arrival into the British monarchy, she got no assistance. Now, that was blown out of the water, if you remember. Lots of people came forward, including the Queen's former lady-in-waiting who offered assistance, but Meghan said, no, I've got Harry, I don't need you, that type of thing. Particularly ungrateful. And then, of course, there was the sort of bombshell, wasn't there? The fact that, a couple of days before a very big royal event, she had to Google the lyrics, the words to the national anthem. We all said at the time, well, it was odd, why did Prince Harry not simply sit down and say, here's a printout, let's go through it together. There is a musical director on board at royal palaces that could have easily come over with a keyboard, set it up and gone through it with you. None of it made sense. But remember, there were certain people, individuals who had NDAs that weren't allowed to speak. Remember those people that their once close communications officer, Jason North, spoke about and said that he felt that they were being bullied. You get that picture? Well, what's interesting now and what's emerging, and as ever we have to say allegedly, is one in particular person was more instrumental in assisting Meghan than possibly we ever knew before. This is because there's allegedly recordings of this particular individual and Meghan going through the national anthem to see the pitch and whether she could remember it, etc. So again, it's a very big story, isn't it? Now, you'd have to be incredibly dense not to think that this particular person may have still that footage or not wiped it or whatever. Why did they keep it? Maybe they forgot at the time. Who knows? Now, whichever way you place this particular story, once again, it puts your version of events in jeopardy. And once again, you would also say, why did Harry go along with this, knowing full well that there were people clearly assisting Meghan during this, some might say, very difficult and quite daunting time, entering into such a world-famous family? Either way, these things will finally come out. And even Meghan must have surely known that. Interesting development, don't you think? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.